The other area that it seems to me is one that we have to get a lot better on is the use of our signage. Now, we don't want the visual pollution kind of situation, but when you've got people, like for us, 3,500 new people came into the area last year, who tells them about what they can do and what they can't do? So this education, this signage, this bringing people up to date with where they can go and what they can do is a recurring step that has to be taken, because some people just don't know. So we have to improve our signage. I think it's fair to say we have done a great deal in that area, but in my view we still have other work to do about that, and I guess that is a trade-off between spoiling, I suppose, a beautiful natural scene, but on the other hand, if we are having to infringe people and to try and take those kind of remedies, then obviously we really have to ensure that the signage makes it very clear where people can go. We still have an ongoing program of education in schools and trying to keep up with shopkeepers, but quite frankly, while I think that's always important, it doesn't solve the problem of those people who come from outside the area. And I think one of the most important things is to keep up the physical presence. While it does mean a lot in terms of resources, I think that if people feel that there's no patrols, if there's not a physical presence, then they feel, well, they've pretty well got open slather. So for us, we have to make sure that we maintain those patrols and that we have rangers and other staff who are very visible in that space. So that's part of where we've come from. I'd like to be able to stand up here and say, boy, we're going great guns on this. We're not, but we have made a lot of improvements. I know those improvements have only come because there were passionate community people who really engaged the council, and we are so fortunate, as I know you will be, and that the staff that work in these areas really, really fight above their weight, and they do an enormous job. For elected members, it's really up to us to make sure that at the policy and funding level, we keep these areas absolutely front and centre so they don't drop off council budgets. I'll be fascinated to hear your experience. We're very fortunate to belong to a network like this where we can share, because we certainly are stewards over probably some of the most beautiful land around. I'm happy to take any questions, but I also thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. Thanks very much. I'm going to handball to Natalie. Do you want to come up the front, Nat? This is one of our environmental champions. This is Natalie. Because I don't want to give you wrong information, Natalie will give you the right information.
I'll be able to give you a brief overview. The rangers have talked to me about this, and I've seen the photos. I don't know if you've seen that David Attenborough cameras that he disguises in rocks. They look kind of like that, which is pretty cool. So, and if
it moves, be very worried.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't. They don't have the little wheels and stuff. So our rangers actually tie them up in trees, and they're kind of camouflaged, and they can be moved. They've been stolen a couple of times, but the rangers have gotten quite good at where to put them now. They're put over areas like entrances to areas, or in car parks where people do burnouts and things like that. They're chained up, and then they're checked regularly. I'm not sure how often, but the rangers go out and check and download the images. The images are triggered by motion, and so they download the images and go through them, and then they are able to follow up and prosecute where they come up with. And did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, I guess I was interested in the idea of whether they were actually a live feed.
Oh, okay.
No.
Camera, or whether you just did exactly.
Yeah, they just download.
And then review.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure if that's every day or when they go out in their rounds. It might be, or like every couple of days.
So you've actually built that task into the rangers.
It's on their regular rounds. Yep.
And I guess the direct feed would be desirable, but of course, as we know, for councils, that's then the cost of monitoring, as you know, it's the whole issue of CCTV, who monitors it. So these cameras are a first step, and they certainly have helped, and we'd be happy to send some photos for you and can provide them to members. But you know, I think that they've come a long way in terms of the quality of the technology and also how they are disguised. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Have you got pads on the ground that they set the cameras off, or is it
Motion, so
sends it off?
yeah, infrared sort of it triggers it off. So if that makes sense.
And we're very happy to provide a bit more detail around that so it can be distributed with the minutes if that would be helpful.
Yeah, they are very readily available on the internet now. I just bought one a couple of weeks ago for wildlife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, they're quite successful. It takes a little bit of getting used to where to put them
Yes, yes.
and how to operate them, but they are quite good. And they've got little, I think call them SD cards, and you can take that and put it in your computer, and you can run through it on the computer. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, they use a lot
Yeah,
for
they are
camera.
quite good. They're incredible things actually. So,
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
And the gentleman at the back?
Yeah, I'm Dave Tapley, but I just wanted to know, I'm from Warpole,
Yes.
not shy. Did you say KAB's supplied these?
We got a grant from, yes, Keep Australia Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a rep for KAB for the Walgers too, so...
Oh, thank you very
and I've got a
much.
meeting there
Yeah,
after this today.
yeah.
So
No,
I'll
but-
go back and say that you're
Yeah.
going well.
Oh, look, it's. I would say out of all the things that'd be beside the dune brushing, that would be, in terms of the rangers, what their feedback is. That's been the most useful thing they've had. Yeah, and I think there was a $10,000 grant, and I can assure you, it saved thousands and thousands of dollars of dune damage.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, full price. I think I paid about $360 as well.
Yeah, yeah.
One other issue at Warpole, all our coastal hill is deck. Our whole coastline is deck controlled.
Yeah.
Now, I'm from the Shire, but we don't really have a lot to do with it. We do, like, in mine, but it's all deck controlled, and they should be here today, really, shouldn't they?
Look, I think that those relationships with the Department of Environment and Conservation are really very important, and that's an ongoing issue. I think how DEC looks after their land and how they patrol it, I think, is something when we have a regional cabinet coming to town next week, and we're going to be having hopefully some meetings with the Minister for the Environment, because we want an assurance from the state government that they're going to be responsible stewards of their land, especially it's so important that that community land is looked after. We've been fortunate in terms of the relationships we've had with the individual staff have helped. The fact that they're short-staffed does not help, but the staff we have been able to work with have been extremely cooperative, and especially where there's land that adjoins, or there's those pockets of land like we had the no man's land sort of thing, trying to get the legal agreements of that sorted out so people have got the legal backup if they do infringe, and they're not left, the staff are not left vulnerable in any way.
Thank you. So,